Welcome in, everyone. Welcome into Butcher and the Beard. I'm David Butcher. That's John Shanley. How's everyone doing today? Not good. Not good. Not me.
We're hurting.
I'm
I
hurting.
know
I'm
you're
hurting.
hurting, Dave.
I'm hurting
I know
bad,
you're
man.
hurting.
I
I'll start quick because I know you're going to want to rant for a minute.
yeah. Let
But
it rant.
I was wrong about the Texans.
Yeah.
Obviously, Flacco looked like a quarterback that was sitting on his couch for 3 weeks
Yeah.
because he was horrible. And the Texans, they just whooped them. Their defense showed up like young team at home playoffs. No, we're the underdog. Yeah, we're gonna show you.
Yeah.
And C.J. Stroud balled out, man. Just hit his receivers. He was up for that game. It was a fun thing to watch if you like the Texans and high offense and some good defense. They had a couple of pick sixes at the end.
Yeah.
But the Browns are the Browns, and we'll see what happens. We were wrong about that. I'm okay with being wrong because
Yeah.
that's what it's about. But then there was the big one, the one at the end, your Dolphins.
Yes.
I don't know, man. Refs had a lot of questionable calls in that, and we've gone this over and over and over again with these refs, and Taylor Swift was in there rocking her Kelsey jacket, and it's like
Four sizes too
roughing
big.
the passer calls, like when you're in a 3rd and 20, like come on, man. It's
It,
hard enough to win in this league, but then
yeah.
when the refs are on your side too, and like all they do is all the fucking the I try not to be sick of the Chiefs because Mahomes is great, but all
Yeah.
he does is cry to the refs. Cry,
That's it.
cry, 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 cry. It's like watching a basketball game, like LeBron James. Oh, that was a foul. That was a foul. That was a foul. But guess what? Then they get the fucking calls. So is
Yeah.
it because they're fucking bitching? You can't just man up, hand the ball to the ref. Even though you got late hit out of bounds. Nope, we're not going to call that because you don't fucking cry to the refs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there was the refs were on the side of the Chiefs in this game. But at the same time, they've had their opportunities and they had some drop passes and it was what it was. It was kind of an ugly game. I didn't think it was a very fun game to watch, but
No, it was
you know,
not.
I I didn't have a dog in the fight. I was rooting for the Dolphins for you, but even so, like
Yeah.
this isn't the type of football game that I wanted to watch. For
No.
a playoff game.
Yeah. I wish they
So all
moved
right,
this
I'll let you
game.
have your time.
Yeah.
Have your rant.
Yeah, it was a like we keep questioning on this show all the time. What's the value of these championships anymore? It's moving to the betting only. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I'm watching football next year 100%. I think I'm just going to be doing a lot of betting, and because at the end of the day, the refs are just so they're just so questionable with this. Is it WWE style? Is there Vegas? People that don't ever say
Yeah.
things like that are now questioning it. Vegas question mark. It's sad when the sport is doing that because people are not going to watch anymore for the fact of their team. They're going to be watching for the fact of the money. You know what I mean? Hey, can my guy
Yeah,
on this team?
exactly.
And it's just sad. And we're in the goal in life is to make that establishment or something like that. The football and baseball and hockey and all these sports and basketball have been around for generations, and you're questioning that now. There's always been betting for sure, but now you're really putting it in a dagger because now people don't even love a team anymore. They just love a player who can get 100 yards receiving or an under over on a game. They don't care
Yeah.
about it anymore. And like my rant for the Dolphins is like, hey, you should have did better. But you went up there at -7 degrees when the game was the balls were frozen. We decided to throw stupid screens and things like this. And like I talk about all the time with everybody that I talk to while I watch the game is that they're going to blame Tua only. It's always Tua. Tua can hand the ball off. Tua can let them run a touchdown, but it's always Tua. It doesn't matter if the defense gave up multiple because Vic Fangio was sitting in zone defense letting Travis Kelsey and Rashay Rice grab 10 yards. And what was happening was the 10 yards wasn't just 10 yards because when they caught the ball, they couldn't tackle. So the problem was becoming a 5 to 6 yard drop back, letting the ball be. And on
Yeah.
top of that, when you sign three pass rushers that never played a game for you and then only practice one time with your
Yeah.
team, and now,
Injuries is a big part of it.
yes, like I was saying earlier, I know the Dolphins will go up to the podium all week, all off season, and say there's no excuses. But you're allowed to have excuses sometimes, man. Sometimes you can go there because, like, if as a
You
fan
are.
base, yes, as a fan base, you should be supporting your team. Like, hey, sorry, but Javon Holland wasn't out there, and he's a superstar. Oh, Jalen Phillips, wasn't out there,
Yeah.
and he's a superstar. Nick Chubbs had 12 sacks. He wasn't out there. He's a superstar. You're allowed to say that. A coach can't say that because he loses the locker
Yeah.
room. But a fan base could be like, you know what? Let's be like really real here for a second and sit down and discuss the level of talent that was on the field last night for defense. And they still did a good job. And they gave up less points. But what happens is Patrick Mahomes is gonna cry to the ref all fucking game and cry, cry, and cry and cry some more. Like his podium should have been like, I cried enough today to win this game. And that's what it should have said because he literally cried on every single possession. It didn't matter if they touched his fucking kneecap with a fucking piece of paper that flew from the stands. He would cry about it. He's done that for years. You think that the people hate the Chiefs because of Patrick Mahomes, because of his play? No, they hate him because he cries the whole game. The whole team was crying last night. I don't
Yeah.
watch a lot of Chiefs games, but to watch them cry on multiple occasions and then the refs go apologize to
Yeah.
Andy Reid, that is a disgrace
Yeah.
to the sport. That should be Roger Goodell coming down, finding the Chiefs organization, finding Andy Reid. If a fucking refs come up to you to apologize for not making a call, that's a problem in the NFL. They're the fucking refs.
Well, if
You know
they're
what I mean?
apologizing, the way I look at it, if they're apologizing for missing a call, it's
Yeah.
because Vegas told them that they were supposed to make that call.
Yeah,
And he's
100%.
like, "Oh, my bad. I didn't hear. Oh, yeah, false start. So my bad. We'll get you on the next one."
Yeah, and they will.
And
The
then there's
refs,
usually a makeup call.
yeah, the makeup calls are
So
real. Even if you're saying that they're not,
whatever. It is what it is.
yeah,
The Chiefs are moving on. It's fucking. Sorry about the Dolphins, but
yeah,
you know what? In truth, though, like health is a big thing, and it always has been.
yeah,
These teams you play now. They play an extra game. They play 17 regular season games, and there's less of a preseason. There's less whatever, and teams that make runs in the playoffs are generally the most healthy.
yeah,
And even then, like you can get hurt in one of those games. Patrick Mahomes himself was not healthy for the Super Bowl. They don't make excuses, but they are legitimate excuses. Like, they play differently when they're hurt or they don't play at all. And, if you don't
yeah,
have guys that put up big numbers that are, making these big NFL salaries that are, to got you to this point, it's hard to bring somebody in, even though you have a certain system, and for them to give you the same level
yeah.
of play as someone who was an all-star or a Pro Bowl or whatever. So that's the NBA, NFL, all that stuff is pretty much the same. When it comes to that, any major sport, you lose
Yeah.
your best players, you're not gonna be as competitive.
You're
So
telling me that a guy who's 34 years old,
yeah,
sitting at his couch, waiting for a football team to call
right,
him, and then calls him for the playoffs, he's ready to go. He's. You think that
right,
every team that was looking for somebody during the
yeah,
whole damn season, he wasn't called. You know what I mean? Like I
right,
made a
and then
funny
all of a
meme.
sudden they need you, and you're just gonna come in and play.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's what it is. And
it should be like soccer. It should be like soccer, where the organization can grab people from other playoff teams. I mean, from other teams, and bring them to their team. Like you can borrow them for the year for the end of the year since you didn't make it. Wouldn't that be crazy?
oh, we lost our running back. We're gonna borrow Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and he has a chance to win a Super Bowl. It might as well.
Exactly.
It's the WWE league now. It really is
It
because
is.
we don't know what's going on anymore. Like back in the day,
Yeah,
I would root for
that
my
is the
team.
WWE league. That
Yeah,
would be official WWE league
yeah,
because then you'd hold somebody on your fantasy roster because he could be traded the next day.
yeah,
It's like, oh, my tag team partner is hurt. Who's gonna this? And then somebody else music kicks in, and it's like,
yeah. Might
we're
as
gonna,
well.
you know,
It's coming down to that. Like I said earlier in this show, is that we are getting to a point where people do not care about teams anymore. They'll love their team because they loved it for so many years,
no,
but no one's growing with their
no, because
children.
you know what it is. You know what it is? The market out there, if you look at it from a business standpoint, the market is you have your loyal fans, and they're
Yeah.
always going to be there. So how do you market to people who don't give a shit? You just make it about the numbers and about gambling and about making money, and now
Yeah.
you're marketing to people who could care less about the teams. But the problem is that there are more people that care less about the teams than
Yes.
do.
Yes.
So, that's where the money is, and that's where you're going to go. You're going to, their organizations are out to make money, and if they're going to run it like the WWE and like wrestling, and it's going to be fake, and they're going to determine the winner or whatever, we're still going to fucking eat it up, and we're still going to bet on it. As long as
Betting.
we
Yes.
think that
Yes.
it's still legitimate.
Yes.
But as long as we still think it's legitimate, that's all that matters.
That's what it's coming down to. It's becoming a lot of people are starting to be really whatever. I can't say it in my head. I have it in my thing. Like
Spectacle.
skeptical. So, yeah. They're
Skeptical,
becoming
yeah.
skeptical. They are. They really are. Like I have a lot of friends on my Facebook that I used to cry all the time on Facebook about refs and stuff, and they'd be like, "Butcher, shut up! Butcher, shut up!" And now they're starting to write on the feeds. Vegas
You
question
were
mark.
right.
You
You
were
were
right.
right.
You know what I mean? Like these refs got a lot of power, man. And if the fucking
Yeah, they can control momentum, especially in the NFL and the NBA.
yes,
NHL too. Like you can call a penalty on somebody, for whatever, give a team a power play. But
yeah, no, I feel
baseball, same
yeah,
thing. The umpires, you call a low strike, you call them bad balls and strikes. You change in a bat. The
yeah,
officiating for all these professional sports has basically shows to us that games can be compromised, and games
yeah,
have been compromised, and whether there's alternative motives or not, the refs are human too. Like maybe, like when I was an umpire, if somebody pissed me off, maybe they did get a strike called against them that wouldn't
that
have
was a
been
ball.
otherwise. But
Yeah,
but I was always opposite because like that's how I was. Like if you're gonna bitch and cry to me over legit bullshit, I'm like I'll give you a fucking reason to fucking bitch and cry about.
yeah.
Like that ball was 3 feet outside, strike.
Well, that's what like they don't understand in baseball and football. It's very momentum based because there's always switching.
Right,
In hockey and
right,
basketball, the flow just goes because there's just
right,
whistles that time things out. But in football, if it's third down and you're at a 5 and then you get a false starter holding, now you're third and 15. You literally
right.
switch of there's no momentum anymore because you're one-sided because now you have to go play defense because you're probably
Or
going to punt. You know what I mean?
Or if you're 3rd and 20 and you don't even come close to making a play, and then you get a little back tap and it's roughing the passer, that's an automatic first down.
Yep.
Like, come on, man.
And now that 3rd and 20 would have been 4th and 20, a punt now becomes
Right,
a first down and the drive continues. And you're like,
right.
okay, I'm probably
The
now that
drive
I'm on like
continues. The defense,
who thought
the
they were off
defense.
the
Not
field.
only not only is the defense more tired, they're deflated because they felt like they stopped you, and now
Yep.
they get
And it
you they continue because
mentally
of a penalty. So
yep. It mentally drives them. It does. Like if you don't think that penalties like that are you
oh,
see their faces when that happens. You're like, are you
absolutely.
you're like, are
Because
you for
believe me,
real?
because believe me, if we get as emotional about that as fans, just imagine how the players
Yeah,
would. I'd lose
who's
my
out
fucking
there?
shit.
Oh, dude, I probably, you know,
I
I
would
have.
lose my
What
fucking
do
shit.
what do they call the person in hockey that just does fighting? What the hell do they call them? There's a movie they made. It's pretty funny.
Well, Lagoon, right?
The goon. Yes, That's what they need. They
Yeah.
need a player that just knocks the shit out of a ref that's been calling bad plays. Remember on the longest yard, he
Mm-hmm.
throws the fucking ball at his
Oh
fucking
yeah.
ball sack because he's like, oh, okay, call
Yeah.
him again. Call that
That's
play.
it.
That's what the refs are. Like, okay, me and my friends that are off the show, what we talk about is that we talk about that with refs, it comes down to what the hell I've had a fucking whole motive in my head about the refs, but it was like coming down to the fact that like they're oh my god, you go talk about something. I'll think of it in a second. I know that it's in my head. I want to talk about it because it's something about the
All right.
refs.
Well, I'm sure we'll have more times, more,
Yeah,
we have a lot more football to go, so I know
yeah,
we're going to have more time to bash the refs
yeah, yeah,
and talk about how it's all fixed. But,
yeah,
for today, we do have two football games. We
yeah.
have the Rams visiting the Lions. I
That eight
guess
fifteen. That's the
Eminem
eight
went out
fifteen.
on Instagram.
He did.
Eminem went out on Instagram and said, Matt Stafford, just let us have this one. Come on, buddy.
Wow.
We know we let you go, but we need this one. Yeah. So I
That's
don't know. Even Eminem's a little bit worried about Matthew
yeah,
Stafford coming home with all those weapons and
dude.
having a fucking party.
Yeah, in the
So
dome with Puka and freaking
I
Cooper
kind
Cup.
of like I kind I kind of like the Rams,
Yeah, me
but
too.
I'm rooting for the Lions.
You want the Lions
I'm
to
rooting
win?
for the Lions, man. I wonder, man. The Lions are trash, but who knows? They might show up and get smoked, like the Browns did. Like thinking the Browns might make some noise, and then they
Yeah,
get
for sure.
smoked. It's a little bit different this because in a way, like the Lions, yes, they're the kind of younger up and coming team, but Goff's been there before. But like they're playing a like established veteran team that has
Yeah,
Stafford's not Stafford wasn't sitting on his couch and then came to play 3 weeks ago. He's
yeah,
well into his whatever season. He's got all the weapons. It's whether the Detroit defense can show up, and
yeah,
there's been times when they have, and then times when they haven't. So I feel like the Rams are going to pull it off just because they have the weapons. But I think Detroit, on paper and this year overall, has been the better team,
yeah,
and I do hope they hold home court and get the win. But
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how that happens.
We'll definitely see. No, it's going to be a fun game. I think they made a good choice giving that 8:15 game to them.
Hmm.
That's a good slot
Yeah.
because the Packers are playing the Cowboys, and like I don't know, man. Like Jaden Reed for the Packers has been playing some phenomenal football. I grabbed him on my fantasy team, thinking, hey, he's a starter. He's a
Oh
zero
yeah.
year. I mean, he's got 0 year experience. I got him on a keeper league, and I'm like, he could play good. I mean, Jordan Love maybe will turn the corner, and now it's his favorite receiver, and nothing better than like we
Yeah.
say, fantasy and betting than having two
Yeah.
players that are loving each other on the fucking field. So we'll see that game. That should be a
Yeah.
good game. They are playing. The Cowboys are playing at home. They play really good at home. So we'll see.
So I
So
I
two
think
two
I think
home
Dallas
games
is
in
going
the.
to romp them,
Yeah, me too.
but
I think
you
so
never
too.
know.
Yeah, we thought the same thing
I
with
think
the.
this is the game that I expected to be the blowout. We already got a blowout yesterday,
Yeah, with the
but
Texans.
Dan, um, my I think Cowboys are just going to kill them. They're at home. They've been good at home all year. The
Yeah,
Packers were a nice story, but they're not an overwhelmingly good team. Like
yeah,
like like Dallas has not played well overall, but they played enough to win. And then
yeah,
like they beat down the teams that they need to beat down. Like they won the game against Detroit, and that was the big controversy with the play at the end and whatnot. But at the same time, Detroit's really good.
yeah,
Green Bay is not in the same. They're although they did beat Detroit on Thanksgiving, I feel like, all things being said, I think Dallas is just it's gonna be a home playoff game. They're gonna want to, insert that dominance, and I think they're gonna be dominant. So
yeah, for sure.
that's what I think what's going on. We're not gonna record tomorrow, so we can go over tomorrow's games. Bucks and Eagles. I
I'm
like
picking
the
the
Bucks in
Bucks,
that
man. Me
game, but
too. I'm picking the Bucks.
the way that everything's gone so far,
Yeah.
the Eagles have looked bad for like 4 straight weeks. Maybe the Eagles show up and
No,
maybe
they're gonna
they're
play
a little
like the
healthier than we
Dolphins.
think, and maybe they win.
Gonna play like the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, maybe, but the
Yeah.
Bucks aren't exactly the
The
Texans.
Chiefs.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Is Mayfield 100% healthy? Because ever since that New Orleans game, he has not played well,
Yeah.
and he took a big hit in that, and I don't know how healthy he is. They only put up 9 points against the Panthers, and it's like, you know. I don't know what's there, what's not. But it's going to be in Tampa, so it's going to be a home cooking game, and I do like the Bucks to win this game. I don't think it's going to be like where they got spanked by Dallas a year ago. I think they're going to be competitive, but we
Yeah.
don't know. We'll see. Because if the Eagles are, start playing like the team in the beginning of the year, then they will spank them. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's the NFL. You don't know what's going to happen. They moved the Buffalo game. I originally liked the Steelers, but now the way I see things unfolding, I just think the Bills are gonna, you know, being that the Chiefs won, the NFL is going to want the Bills and the Chiefs. So
Yeah.
like, keep your your eyes on the referees and some really tough calls against the Steelers because I kind of feel like that's the way that
Yeah.
that's going.
Because it was perfect for them. The blizzard would have been great for Najee Harris and everything. They would have been running the ball all over them,
Yeah.
and now they're
Now
no.
we do have a clip of what apparently the weather was like, which you can throw in,
Yeah, I'll throw it in there.
after I
Yeah.
say this, but like, if you look at that, it's like, okay, maybe they shouldn't have been playing in that particular weather, or
Yeah.
even if it wasn't during game time, people are trying to travel in that to get to the
Yeah.
game. So I think they made a good. Although my heart of me, where I used to watch these games in similar weather, was like, oh, that just buck it up and go through it. Now I'm like, maybe it'd be better if people stayed home and we
Yeah.
got this game in when the weather's not so bad. So
They couldn't just have the game like
not so much for
COVID.
the players or the fans, but like you
Just
know
just play the game
you
with
shouldn't
no
be,
fans.
because people are going to be getting drunk and hammered, and then they're going to be driving to the game in a fucking blizzard. Like, you're just asking people to fucking die. So
Yeah.
we want to try to avoid that, as much as possible. But
Yeah.
um, but we'll see how the games turn out, and then we'll come back Tuesday with
Yep.
we'll be back on our normal routine on Tuesday, and we'll have the winners, losers, and we'll look forward to the following weekend, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. That
Any
was
last words?
my last words
Say
are.
you're like at a funeral. Say your last words for the
Yeah, the season.
Dolphins.
Yeah, the sorry Dolphins. Your season's come to an end. HBO Hard Knocks. Fuck you. Uh, at the end of the day, we'll give the roses to the Dolphins. The thing is that we're more depressed because of things that happened. But at the end of the day, if we're gonna be lying, if you said that the Dolphins in the last 20 fucking years, if you're a Dolphin fan, to say that you went to the playoffs 2 years in a row, you can't even say that. Like, dude, the fan base is a fucking joke. Dude, they're crying. Like, I hope fucking Dolphin fans should listen to this because, like, you guys are a joke, man. If you're crying right now, you won 2 years in a row to the playoffs. I've been a fan my whole life, and I've seen one playoff appearance and one AFC East championship. So like I get it. We had high expectations and we didn't get them, and it sucks and it hurts our hearts. It does. But you made the playoffs 2 years in a row. You know how many teams did make the playoffs? A lot of them. You know what I mean? Like, so you could sit here and be like, you know
Giants
what,
didn't.
Giants didn't make it. And it's sad to say. Because I respect the Giants because they beat the Tom Brady when it was for that undefeated record that the Dolphins hold. You know what I mean?
Twice.
Twice. So like we the Dolphin fans, we might
Fuck,
never see a
fuck
championship. We
Tom
might.
Brady.
Yeah, fuck Tom Brady. We might never see a championship. You know what I mean? And that's true. But right now with the team we have, like, we're making the playoffs, and that's the only choice you get right now, is that there's a chance that you can make the Super Bowl, because if you don't make the playoffs, you don't get a chance at all. You know what I mean? So be happy at
Well, I
least.
would say at this point, your best chance is to stay healthy
Yeah.
and win those games against Buffalo, because then if you because think about it, if you would have won that last game in Buffalo, you would have been playing Buffalo in
Buffalo.
Miami, and
Yeah.
that would have been, you probably would have won that game too. So like,
Yeah.
beat Buffalo, and then and stay healthy.
Yeah.
You lose
That's
you lose big defensive players, it's going to be hard.
yeah, for sure.
All right, I don't really have a rant for today because
No.
I'm still traveling, and
You're
but I'll be back home
traveling.
in Florida
Yeah.
for
And
Tuesday,
yeah, for
and
Tuesday.
we'll go get it then. All
All right.
right.
Sounds good. We appreciate you guys. We love you.
So this
Support. but we're out.